Copperhead Strike is a mock multi-launch coaster at Carowinds. This coaster does a lot of things well. It offers airtime, laterals, hang time, and theming. But you know what this launch coaster doesn't do well? The launches. But does that kill the experience? Find out in this review of Copperhead Strike. The year was 2018. Carowinds had 13 different roller coasters, but it was one of the largest parks in the world without a launch coaster. The park previously had White Lightning, a Schwarzkopf shuttle loop from 1977 to 1988, but the park was missing a launch coaster for nearly 3 decades afterwards. But that void was filled in 2019. After a fun teaser campaign, Carowinds opened Copperhead Strike. Cedar Fair had previously worked with Mack on some smaller family coasters, but this was the chain's first major thrill coaster from the German manufacturer. Copperhead Strike was placed in the all-new themed area named Blue Ridge Junction. This was previously home to Whitewater Falls Shoot the Chutes and the Thunder Road roller coaster station. This area has a pleasant southern atmosphere, and Copperhead is the anchor. This ride has a rusty orange paint scheme. The orange pops in the sun, but it can look pretty drab on cloudier days. Where the ride really shines though is in the theming department. This is one of the best themed coasters Cedar Fair has ever built. The story is a little convoluted though, but I appreciate the visuals in both the queue line and initial launch sequence. The ride takes place on Granny's farm. She's well known for her prize-winning jam, but she has a secret. There are no trespassing signs warning guests of snakes, but Granny is really hiding a moonshine operation in her shed. There isn't any theming after that initial launch, but it makes the build-up and wait more pleasant. And you may have to wait a while. Copperhead Strike routinely is one of the longest lines at Carowinds. This ride's line can easily reach an hour on weekends or busy summer days. Part of that is the ride's popularity, and part of that is the capacity. Each train only seats a maximum of 16 riders. While the coaster can run 3 trains, it'll often double stack if it runs that many. In my more recent visits, I've seen this coaster only running 2 trains. If you want to beat the crowds, you can head to Copperhead Strike first. Since this ride is in the very back of the park, it is possible to get a few quick rides before crowds reach it. Alternatively, you can either purchase a fast lane or head there at the very end of the night, but I personally prefer to save my night rides for Fury 325. Or you can visit during Winterfest when the fast lane queue line is turned into a single rider line, which can be a huge time saver. Operations on Copperhead Strike are fine. They move fast enough to roll 2 trains. The restraints consist of an overhead lap bar and an external seatbelt. The latter isn't found in most mock coasters, but Cedar Fair likes redundant safety mechanisms. Guests can lower their own lap bar, but only the employees can buckle that seatbelt. And I really like these trains, both from a comfort and aesthetic standpoint. The lap bar contouring is comfortable. It can and likely will tighten significantly on that first vertical loop, but your upper body is still free to experience all that airtime and hang time. I also like how the seats are elevated, which accentuates the twists and turns. Then the trains are designed to look like sleek trucks. The ride used to have headlights, which was a cool feature for night rides, but I haven't seen them in use in my more recent visits. Copperhead Strike is great in all rows, but I have a slight preference for the back. This ride sometimes has assigned seating on busier days, but the park will usually honor seat requests if you want a specific row. It's also worth noting that loose articles, including bags, cannot be stored in the ride platform. If it can't ride with you, you need to purchase a $2 locker. This coaster was designed also with winter operations in mind. This is the largest coaster open for Winterfest, so it was designed to have a lower minimum operating temperature and a higher tolerance to winds than the park's other coasters. Really, the only weather that will shut this ride down is a thunderstorm. The ride can run a little slower in this colder weather understandably, which amplifies the hang time. However, a few of the ejector airtime moments are a little weaker. Once dispatched, you slowly roll out of the station through a JoJo roll. This is an exciting start, as this glacially slow barrel roll offers insane hang time. I wish more coasters had this funky element because it really sets the tone for the ride. You then turn into Granny's shed. I love the physical props in there. It took multiple rides just to appreciate all the details. But on the left, you have some screens with Granny herself. I like the lighting and auxiliary sound effects, but it's unfortunately pretty hard to hear Granny's dialogue during this portion. You then slowly coast forwards and then the launch engages, accelerating riders from 0 to 42 miles per hour or 68 kilometers per hour in 2.5 seconds. Mack is not known for strong launches, and Copperhead Strike may have one of the weakest launches out there, even by their standards. It has zero oomph or kick to it. It just gets you up to speed. The first vertical loop is another wonderful hang time moment. The train really crawls through the super circular loop, so you hang out your seat for a few seconds. This immediately leads into a sharp camelback, which delivers weak ejector airtime for all. It's a delightful contrast to the prior hang time. The train then whips through a corkscrew with some great laterals. I usually don't get those kinds of forces on a corkscrew, but I enjoy it. Next is a figure 8 turnaround. It is sort of slow, but the lowest point does deliver some decent positive Gs. This element finishes off the ground and leads into this abrupt dip into the second launch. This drop gives a surprise pop of ejector airtime for all, and it's pretty forceful too. Plus, it's paired with a sneaky head chopper with some track. The second launch boosts the train from 35 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour. This acceleration is really gradual, and you don't really feel it. The launch track does include a bunny hill though, that delivers a weak pop of airtime, which makes up for the lack of launch power. You then hop up, getting a weak pop of airtime up front, and navigate a slow cutback. Honestly, this feels more like an inverted top hat because it's the ride's highest point. It offers crazy hang time for all, and there are some additional head choppers with the inversion supports. You then fly through a low and whippy bank turn that again has a nice head chopper. Riders then get blasted with positive Gs before navigating the second vertical loop. It's just as round as the first one, but you have even more speed through this one. The hang time isn't as pronounced as the prior one, but you still come out of your seat for an instant. The next element is my favorite on the ride, the Stengel dive through the first loop. This banked camelback delivers a powerful combination of ejector airtime and strong laterals. And immediately afterwards, there's this super snappy S-hill that delivers an equally as aggressive ejector pop combined with another burst of laterals, tossing your body in the opposite direction. The sequencing of these two elements is brilliant. The next few turns are a dead spot though. There just aren't any laterals, positives, or pops of airtime here. It just feels like the ride is meandering. This section leads into an elongated S-hill that delivers a weak pop of airtime, but Copperhead returns to form with an aggressive bunny hill that gives a potent pop of ejector airtime. You then shoot into the brake run, getting one last pop of airtime for all, and if you're up front, you'll also get some laterals from the banking. This ends a 3,255 foot or 992 meter long experience, and it really is impressive how much track Mack packed into a small area. Copperhead Strike is a very smooth coaster, and the experience is super comfortable thanks to those trains. As for pacing, Copperhead Strike is pretty good in that department. Some of the turns let their foot off the gas, particularly towards the end, but most of the elements deliver hang time, airtime, and or laterals. So what would I rate Copperhead Strike? I would give this diverse coaster an 8.5 out of 10. I really like this Mack launch coaster. I do not like the weak launches, but the rest of the layout is strong. This is one of the best coasters in the world for hang time. 4 of the 5 inversions will leave you suspended upside down for a few seconds. Then the rest of the layout is exciting with the airtime hills and head choppers. Plus you have that quirky theme as well. This is my second favorite attraction at Carowinds, and I'd love to see more coasters like this at other Cedar Fair parks. It was a pricey addition at $26 million, but the ride does so much well, and it's a crowd pleaser too. So those are my thoughts on Copperhead Strike. What are your thoughts on the lone launch coaster at Carowinds? Do you like the well-rounded layout and theming? Let me know what you think about this ride down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.